Well, good morning. It's February 23rd, the day after Washington's birthday. They were celebrating the birthday in Chicago last night, you know. Congressman Harold Washington really had a celebration there. He defeated
we got it.
Mayor Jane Byrne in the Democratic primary. That's our top story this morning. Arab oil ministers continue to debate price cuts, and the federal government has agreed to buy dioxin-contaminated Times Beach.
It was a stunning defeat of the Chicago machine early this morning in Chicago when Congressman Harold Washington narrowly upset incumbent Mayor Jane Byrne to win the Democratic mayoral nomination in his bid to become Chicago's first black mayor. Washington proclaimed victory when it became clear that his slim three-point lead would hold.
I proudly and humbly accept, on behalf of the people of Chicago, the nomination as the Democratic candidate for mayor in 1980.
But so far, incumbent Mayor Jane Byrne is refusing to admit defeat.
That at this moment, the election is truly too close to call. No, it's too close to call.
Richard Daley, son of the late mayor, ran a poor third and was first to concede.
That this race for mayor of the city of Chicago is a two-person race between Mayor Jane Byrne and Congressman Harold Washington.
There have been allegations of vote fraud in the polling, so ballot boxes are going to be impounded. There are also rumors that Mayor Byrne is going to seek a recount.
Persian Gulf oil ministers were entering a second day of talks in Saudi Arabia after failing yesterday to reach agreement on price cuts. Sources say the ministers appear to be edging toward a cut of more than $4 a barrel. The cut would force other oil producers to do likewise and could set the mark for world oil prices for years to come. The latest tests confirmed high levels of dioxin in the streets of Times Beach, Missouri, and residents anxious to sell their homes and get out had to wait for a decision from the government as to whether it would buy the now unwanted property.
That's the worst part of it, is waiting. The indecision's worse than the dioxin.
I am personally as upset as I know you all have been over the uncertainties that we've had to live with.
The decision came. The government will put up $33 million to buy all the houses and businesses in Times Beach.
She didn't show up before a House panel, but she will before a Republican-dominated Senate panel today. Rita Lavelle will testify about her controversial record as head of the Environmental Protection Agency's Superfund cleanup program. A letter circulating among House Republicans, by the way, calls on President Reagan to appoint someone who will inspire public trust to be the new head of the Superfund program. Hold on to your hat now, because another one is being tossed into the presidential ring. It is Ruben Askew, former governor of Florida, who was formally announcing his run for the Democratic nomination today. He joins Walter Mondale, Gary Hart, and Alan Cranston, and you can stand by because there are more to come.
It's more than a bite. You might say this is quite a mouthful. The Ohio legislature has passed an income tax increase that almost doubles the old rate. It's the third tax hike in less than a year in Ohio, and it is a 90% jump. Democrats voted for it, Republicans voted against it, saying recovery is on the way. Tornadoes struck without warning in northern Alabama and southern Georgia last night. The twisters destroyed or damaged dozens of houses and trailers and knocked out power in 4 towns. At least 10 people were slightly injured. The twisters took the National Weather Service by surprise. A tornado watch was issued when it was all over.
And seeing what no man or telescope has seen before, the new infrared telescope launched by NASA last month has begun to return its first pictures of far distant galaxies, including these computer-enhanced images of what the scientists are calling cosmic maternity wards, clouds of interstellar gas and dust which appear to be in various stages of giving birth to the stars. The infrared scope is expected to remain in operation for at least the next 10 months. And we have more news ahead.
Coming up on the CBS Early Morning News, our Wednesday sports report. Jim Kelly takes a springtime look at spring training and all the rest of the sports.
There have been many changes in the world since my almanac, Poor Richard, came off the press back in 1733. Our country has grown, our government has grown, but most importantly, our knowledge has grown. It's hard for me to keep abreast of all the new ideas and discoveries, but one way to keep informed on all the new developments is by reading books sold by the U.S. government. This new catalog by the U.S. Government Printing Office lists nearly 1,000 of the government's best-selling publications. It has published books on almost every conceivable subject. I dare say there's even information on one of my favorite subjects, printing. Some years ago, I wrote in my almanac, "An investment in knowledge pays the best interest." That was good advice in my time, and it's good advice in yours. If you'd like a free copy of this new catalog, write New Catalog, Superintendent of Documents, Washington, D.C., 20402.
CARE, survival today for the world's needy people. CARE delivers emergency food and supplementary food to combat malnutrition. CARE provides the self-help means for families to grow their own food, to build safer water systems, to improve health care, to construct schools and shelter. CARE helps people in need to work their way from survival today to self-support tomorrow. CARE, Box 576, New York 10156, or your local CARE office.
Steve Deschler standing by with the weather. We have the election out of the way in Chicago. Now we can look to the east where you have a lot of action headed your way, it looks like.
Well, things are happening there. Now, New England has been very warm the past several days. Now, later on today, once these rain showers begin to change, that is to say, change over to snow, it'll be more like wintertime. Here's a look at the national satellite picture that shows the concentration of clouds in the northeast. The southeast has mainly cleared out now after a bumpy night. The cool front off the coastline, Florida clear to partly cloudy, as are all the Gulf states and Texas, and most of the southern and central plains. The western Great Lakes are clear too. It's 38 degrees at Detroit, Sault Ste. Marie at the freezing mark, and Chicago at 34. There are some low clouds across the plains and foggy weather across Kansas right now, reducing visibilities for driving. 35 around the panhandle of Texas at Amarillo. Cheyenne 32, mainly clear skies, northern Rockies, and the southwest is all clear. It'll be a gorgeous day and very warm temperatures there. 57 degrees at Los Angeles, 47 Las Vegas, more rain showers and clouds all along the west coast, and 54 degrees at Eugene, 52 now at Seattle, possible daytime high of around 60 there, very warm. Now here's a look at some weather and temperature forecasts for some locations around the country. At New York City, 42 and rain, 40 and sunshine for Chicago. 76 and mostly cloudy skies at Miami, 60 and rain for Seattle, 65 and showers LA, 70 and sunshine for Roswell, New Mexico. I'll have that national forecast in a couple of minutes.
Thank you, Steve. There's controversy this morning surrounding the Heisman Trophy winner Herschel Walker, and Jim Kelly will tell us about it. Jim?
That's right, Diane. Did he sign a contract? Did he have his agent negotiate? Either one, a violation of the NCAA rules, and it could cost college football's third all-time leading rusher his senior year of eligibility. For his part, though, Herschel Walker denies signing a contract, though the owner of the USFL New Jersey Generals was in Athens, Georgia, to visit with Walker. His friend, advisor, some would say agent Jack Manton, according to the club, approached them about some interest. At first, the NCAA said they were satisfied that there was no wrongdoing at all. Now they're going to investigate. If not, of course, there would be charges of a cover-up. College hoops, the 7th-ranked Wildcats of Villanova here in blue. Dwayne McClain on the alley-oop taps the ball in the air with one hand and good. John Pannone, the feed underneath. McClain, who had 15, made all 7 of his shots. Pannone led Villanova with 20 points, who shot 63%. Wildcats win by 8. The Tigers by 16. Tennessee takes Auburn. In the NBA, the Knicks, Bill Cartwright, the dunk, 6 seconds to go. New York by a bucket. And the same margin for the Nets here as Albert King hits the winning shot in their game against Indiana. Elsewhere, the Bulls beat the Nuggets by 9, the Warriors by 12, the Blazers by 6, and the Bullets by 1. The Suns stopped Milwaukee and Seattle over San Diego. For 5 of Marcel Dion's 9 40-goal seasons, he has scored 50 or more times. The Kings in gold right here, and watch the L.A. Star score his 40th goal of this year. 15-footer right there. Marcel, of course, seems a cinch to collect 50 goals again. The 9 40-goal seasons, an NHL record. 5-3 Kings, Jets and Islanders tie. North Stars stop the Wings. Montreal, Calgary, and Vancouver all won. Spring training swings from Phoenix, where the A's new manager, Steve Boros, has Oakland players running to second base even when they hit just a single. He says it's a matter of conditioning that the A's dropped from the Western Division lead in 1981 to Western Division also-rans in '82.
My attitude about the season last year is that I can't believe so many good players had bad years. And I feel that happened because of all the injuries. And the way to attack a problem like that is to attack it by getting them in shape and getting them...
Milwaukee's Gorman Thomas is ready for spring training as well. 10 swings at the bat, and 4 of them went out of the park.
Thank you, Jim. We're ready for news coming up in a moment.
And still to come on the CBS Early Morning News, Ken Pruitt's report on the latest OPEC oil action and Steve Deschler's newest look at the weather.
It's naturally high in protein, naturally low in calories, and just plain good for you. And now it's coated with real oven-baked breadcrumbs for a taste that's crispier than ever before. Introducing Mrs. Paul's new crispier, crunchier fish sticks and fillets. When was the last time your kids had fun eating something this good? Come on. Mrs. Paul's. It tastes good because it is good.
It's here, a typewriter superior to the IBM Electronic 75 with pages of memory, proportional spacing, and automatic justification. Even IBM admits this is better than their best electronic typewriter. What could possibly be better than the IBM Electronic 75?
Why, the IBM Electronic 85. What else?
Tuna on rye, no pickle.
That was tuna on white.
In the headlines, Israel has rejected President Reagan's plan to protect its northern border. The U.S. condemns Libya at the United Nations. A hijacked Libyan airline remains on the ground in Malta for a 3rd day. Israel this morning formally rejected President Reagan's offer to guarantee the security of its border with Lebanon. Israeli officials say they want to negotiate their own security arrangements using their own troops. To accept the president's pledge, Israel would have to withdraw its troops.
This administration is prepared to take all necessary measures to guarantee the security of Israel's northern borders in the aftermath of complete withdrawal of the Israeli army. The peace can only evolve through freely negotiated agreements, not solutions imposed by force.
There is some confusion as to exactly what Mr. Reagan was offering. White House officials insist the president's speech does not represent a major shift in policy. They say the offer could involve the use of additional U.S. troops, but only as one of many, many options.
Without elaborating, UN Ambassador Jeane Kirkpatrick accused Libya of plotting to kill American ambassadors in several Middle East countries. At a Security Council meeting, she denied that the U.S. had provoked Libya by deploying AWACS radar jets and the carrier Nimitz to deter a Libyan attack on the Sudan.
We have never engaged and do not now engage in acts of provocation. But we are deeply sensitive to threats to international peace, to our own security, and to the security and national independence of Libya's neighbors. And let there be no doubt, we will respond as appropriate to Libyan threats.
On Malta, the 160 people on a hijacked Libyan jet are described as exhausted, hungry, and suffering on their 3rd day of captivity. The Libyan hijackers want the plane refueled and are requesting asylum from any Western nation. But Prime Minister Dom Mintoff says that he will guarantee their security, but only will refuel the jet when the hostages are freed.
George Fenneman, who stood up to years of friendly insults as straight man to Groucho Marx, stood up yesterday for Marx's former companion, Aaron Fleming, at the Marx estate trial. Fenneman told the court that Marx had been despondent for a decade until Fleming came along.
He was not well, he was old, and he didn't want to eat his string beans. And she forced him to eat his string beans, but not with anger, but as you would a child, and he ate his string beans.
Fenneman appeared with Marx for some 14 years, first on radio, then television in the program You bet your life. You'll remember that. Back in a moment.
In just a minute on the CBS Early Morning News, Ken Pruitt with the latest on the oil wars.
She came right out and told me my teeth were yellow from smoking.
I didn't want to embarrass him, but he did get the Topol.
When smoke from one cigarette can leave a stain like this, imagine what a pack a day can do to your teeth. Topol is formulated to help remove ugly yellow tobacco stains, yet Topol cleans gently enough to be used every day.
Topol is kind of expensive compared to regular toothpaste.
Oh, but compared to what cigarettes cost.
Your teeth are so much brighter now.
Yeah.
Topol, smoker's tooth polish.
Honey, you brought home the bowling trophy.
Yeah, and a nagging backache.
Hold on, I'll get the Doan's pills.
Good advice. Doan's pills for occasional nagging backache pain due to simple overexertion, stress, or strain. Taken as directed, this time-proven analgesic brings relief of minor backache pain for hours.
Doan's pills make me feel like I do when I bowl a strike. Relieved.
Time-proven Doan's pills help you get the better of simple backache pain.
The financial markets were rocked by the oil pricing news yesterday. Ken Pruitt has more.
Right, Diane. All that talk about an oil price war drove the stock market down, and the metals really took a beating in New York yesterday. Now, later today, we should get word from Saudi Arabia and other Gulf state producers on just how deeply they'll cut prices. Saudi Oil Minister Sheikh Yamani indicated there will be a reduction in the wake of price cuts by Britain, Norway, and Nigeria, but he would not be specific. The Dow Jones Industrial Average went down 12.5 points to the 1080 level in a broad-based retreat. The airline stocks went up. Airlines benefit by falling oil prices. Pan Am was the most active issue on the exchange, and solid gains were also made by American, Delta, and Northwest. The oil stocks, on the other hand, went down. Exxon, Standard of Indiana, Atlantic Richfield, and Amerada Hess all fell sharply. There was also heavy selling on the New York Commodities Exchange as traders bet that falling oil prices will keep inflation down. Gold fell nearly $26 an ounce, down to $4.80 on the COMEX. And in London this morning, it's down a little bit more, down 75 cents to $4.79 and a quarter. Silver fell more than 80 cents an ounce in New York to $13.73. Now, some metals analysts say it was all overdone, and gold will be back over 500 and silver back over 14 before too long. 1,700 Atari workers in Sunnyvale, California are losing their jobs. The video game manufacturer says it's moving most of its operations to the Orient in order to take advantage of lower labor costs. The Commerce Department has taken another look at gross national product in the fourth quarter of last year. It fell 1.9% at an annual rate. That's less than the original estimate of a 2.5% drop. It doesn't mean any real change in the way things are going now. Most economists say the economy's in the process of turning around, but the recovery will probably be slower than the 7% expansion that's normal in the first year following a recession. The dollar is higher this morning. The British pound has fallen to a record low of $1.51.7. And, Bill, that's another reaction to falling oil prices.
From the OPEC. We should get some word from the OPEC countries today. Are you expecting
They're supposed to make a decision today. We may not find out just how much they're going to cut prices till later in the week, though.
Estimates range from $4 to $7.
All the way to 7, yeah.
Let's get a forecast now on the Weather Department. Steve Deschler again.
Thanks, Bill. Some heavy weather overnight in the past 24 hours across the Southland, tornadoes in Alabama, and some heavy rainfall as we forecast yesterday. Meanwhile, the cold front that caused all the trouble is now pushing off the southeastern coastline. 69 degrees now in Miami, mainly clear skies to partly cloudy all across Florida. 54 in New Orleans, 54 for Richmond, and mainly rain showers now breaking out around the areas of the Carolinas, north of the Virginias, and soon today there will be rain showers overspreading all the northeastern coastline. It's now 34 at Boston, and there will be first rain, then snow later for the northeastern states and New England. Meanwhile, in the Great Lakes, some cloudy skies persist. 32 at Sault Ste. Marie. Some light snows there. Cloudy skies across Iowa. Fog in Kansas right now. And mainly clear skies all across Texas, the southern plains, and across the desert southwest as well. Warm air on the way. More rain showers in the Pacific Northwest in the forecast today. It's 52 at Seattle and 57 degrees around Los Angeles. The forecast map, heavy snows possible. Northern New England, 42 in New York City. Rain showers farther south in the Ohio Valley. Clear skies in the Southland and the plains. Rain showers on the west coast. Now here's a look at the weather and temperature forecasts for some locations around the country. At Boston, 37 with snow and rain, 52 in partly cloudy skies Louisville, 63 in sunshine for Dallas, Fargo, 29 in flurry, 60 in cloudy skies at Denver, 68 degrees and mostly cloudy at San Diego. More about that northeastern storm on the CBS Morning News a bit later.
Thank you, Steve. And when we come back, the latest computer operators. They like bananas and are hairy.
There's more to John Hancock than life insurance.
In my business, creating something new isn't enough. It has to be what people want. That's why the John Hancock companies constantly develop new financial services that people like me really need. Everything from employee benefits programs to mutual funds, even auto and home reinsurance. When John Hancock offers something new, there's a future in it.
John Hancock. We can help you here and now, not just hereafter.
We better head in. Sure could use some coffee. Yeah. Thanks. Terrific coffee. Yeah, what kind is it?
Master Blend.
Is that supposed to cost less?
Uh-huh. It only tastes expensive.
Master Blend, a delicious blend of beans we roast and grind a special way so you can save money. Master Blend, it only tastes expensive.
Every day, no matter how young you are, old dead cells dull your face.
Buff, puff, buffs all the way.
That's why a dermatologist developed Buff Puff.
Buff, puff, buffs all the way.
Bring back the healthy glow of younger skin.
Every day, buff it away.
Gently cleanse away old dead cells. Buff up younger, healthier looking skin.
Buff, puff, buffs all the way. To buff up the young each day.
There's a lot about the business world you can't learn in any textbook. You learn it here, the Wall Street Journal. Today's business, always current, always timely. Believe me, it's required reading.
Get all the business news you need when you need it. Get the Wall Street Journal, delivered every business day for 6 months for $47, just 37 cents a day. Phone toll-free 800-228-2210. That's 6 months, $47, only 37 cents a day. Phone 800-228-2210 now.
In this morning's headlines, Congressman Harold Washington has upset incumbent Chicago Mayor Jane Byrne. Arab oil ministers are meeting to debate price cuts, and the federal government has offered to buy dioxin-contaminated Times Beach. In a stunning defeat of the Chicago machine, Congressman Harold Washington has won the Democratic mayoral nomination in his bid to become Chicago's first black mayor. With nearly all the votes counted, Washington maintains a lead of about 3%. But incumbent Mayor Byrne is refusing to concede defeat amid rumors she may demand a recount. Richard Daley, son of the late mayor, conceded early last night after running a surprisingly poor third.
Arab oil-producing countries today are expected to officially cut crude oil prices, possibly by as much as $4 a barrel. Fear of an oil price war sent prices plummeting on markets where traders deal in short-term contracts for wholesalers and distributors. On the New York Mercantile Exchange, wholesale prices on gasoline and home heating oil dropped by about 4 cents a gallon. House Ways and Means Subcommittee has approved major sections of the $165 billion plan to bail out Social Security. However, the panel was unable to decide yesterday whether to raise the retirement age to 66 in order to save money. The Environmental Protection Agency has offered $33 million to buy property and relocate residents of Times Beach, Missouri, which is contaminated with dioxin. Congressional investigators, meanwhile, began poring over confidential EPA documents yesterday. They are looking for evidence of mismanagement in the handling of the toxic waste cleanup program. Rita Lavelle, who was fired as head of the $1.6 billion Superfund, is scheduled to testify before its Senate panel today. She has ignored subpoenas to testify in the House.
And from around the world this morning, in Memphis, the local Human Services Department gave out 30,000 packages of surplus butter to food stamp recipients. The giveaway continues today and tomorrow. And in Paris, newspapers are quoting French Foreign Minister Claude Chesson's appraisal of his recent meeting with Soviet leader Yuri Andropov. Chesson said that Andropov was not very warm or romantic, more, he said, like a computer. And like it or not, computer students are getting younger and younger these days. One student in Los Angeles is just 2.5 years old.
Return. Return. No, 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 no. Return. Right here. Return. Push return. Push return. Good boy. Now, systems reset. Good boy.
Virginia Bauer has been working with Isaac since September now. The chimp is already matching the symbols on the screen with the symbols on his keyboard. There's more news ahead on CBS.
Puts us all in our place, doesn't it? The Supreme Court has ruled that a driver's refusal to submit to drunk driving tests can later be used against him in court. The court held the tests do not violate constitutional privileges against self-incrimination. The ruling comes amid increasing charges that one such test, the breathalyzer, may sometimes be defective. Fred Graham reports.
The breathalyzer has been one of the big guns in the nationwide assault on drunk driving, but unfortunately it is not always accurate. In recent months, the manufacturer of the breathalyzer has notified police departments that some of the machines can give false readings when used near radio transmissions. Defense attorney Jim Castor, who specializes in defending those accused of drunk driving, says there are many problems with the breathalyzer.
It responds in an unpredictable manner to radio frequencies. It can be affected by anything from dirt and dust in the air to chewing gum or to chewing tobacco in your mouth.
Despite the questions, the laws of 18 states say that if a driver refuses to take the test, his refusal can be used as evidence to convict him of drunk driving. The Supreme Court held that such laws are constitutional. Justice O'Connor said this is not compulsory self-incrimination because the suspect is not pressured to give testimony, just a sample of breath or blood. Defense lawyers are now expected to press forward with lawsuits attempting to make police departments stop using breathalyzers until they are checked and the defective ones are fixed or removed from service. Fred Graham, CBS News, Washington.
It's been a very rainy winter in southern Florida. As Al Sunshine reports from WTVJ in Miami, the rains are endangering wildlife in Everglades National Park.
The water pours steadily through the floodgates into Everglades National Park's northern boundary because South Florida water management officials have no other place to drain off Lake Okeechobee's overflow. The water is directed south into the Everglades. Sheets of water now cover vast areas of the park, but this should be the dry season, and because of all the water, wildlife here is now fighting to stay alive. Normally, this section of Shark Valley in Everglades National Park would be dry this time of year, but because of all the wet weather, this area is starting to flood out, and wildlife is starting to come up in the roadways to try to stay dry.
Since I've been here in the last 7 years, this time of the year, the water would be approximately 12 inches lower than it is now.
It's about a foot over normal?
I'd say.
Tourists take off their shoes, roll up their pants, and slog through the flooded park. Even visitors from up north have heard about South Florida's water problems. Why do you think there's so much water here now?
Well, I understand it's because they're letting water out of the lakes, which are getting too high, and therefore flooding this area.
Park officials don't know if there's enough time for the Everglades to dry out before the rainy season comes. They fear that this year's breeding season for birds may already be lost because of all the water. Al Sunshine for CBS News, Everglades National Park.
From Florida, we'll move back to the northern part of the United States in Chicago, and in the CBS Morning News, follow up that Chicago upset where Harold Washington has defeated Jane Byrne and Richard Daley.
And now that MASH is about to leave the airwaves, we're going to invite a real MASH unit to come in and look at some of the show with us and tell us how it really was. Hope to see you on the CBS Morning News.
This is CBS.